Hey, I'm Chris Brogan from chrisbrogan.com, and I'm here with Mr. Derek Halpern from socialtriggers.com. Derek's site, Social Triggers, what Derek does there is he shows people how to turn web traffic into leads and sales. And you know what? If you're not getting any traffic, Derek can show you how to get that. So I didn't know whose site to make fun of, so I thought I'd make fun of one of my own. So kitchentablecompanies.com is who we're going to make fun of. So right down below in the bar, you can see it. Just pump that into your browser while you're listening to Derek tear it apart.
Okay, so a lot of people, especially blogs, make the mistake and assume that people know what you're all about without actually telling them what you're all about. And it kind of falls into what the Heath brothers called the curse of knowledge, where just because you know the answer doesn't mean your visitors know the answer. So with Kitchen Table Company specifically, when I go to this site, I personally know this is all about helping small businesses. But I don't see the word small business anywhere on this website.
Wow.
All right, so that's the first problem, is you don't actually have small business. I actually, now that I'm looking a little further, I see, are you a small business owner as the welcome, right under welcome?
Sure.
But it's not a headline. So if you're going to want to improve the way this site looks to people, you want to have a big headline right at the top of the page that says, if you're a small business owner, keep reading. It immediately qualifies your traffic, and you could actually do a better headline. Welcome is not a good headline. No one wants to be welcomed. People want to be greeted with a potential benefit. So you want to turn, a main benefit right at the top. And as a good example, if you ever saw the new getpremise.com, they have a big promise right at the top. I think it's how to turn traffic into cash.
How to build WordPress landing pages that work, and then they kind of move that way down from there.
Yeah, so you want to have a big headline right at the top. Now, I like what you're doing with the picture, though, because I think you're connecting with a lot of your audience. And a lot of your small business owners might be craft makers. They might be working on the computer. They might be using paperwork. So that's a good picture, but there's no promise that draws people into knowing what your site's about. So first thing, big headline, tell people what you're all about.
That's why I have that big old join button. But I've been told by a few people that join might be the wrong word, and I'm curious to know what you think. That might be too big a push for the first request on that page.
All right, so I think right now you do need a better lead generation system in place. Right now you're already asking for the sale, and you're not really doing anything to explain why they should be buying what they're buying. So I think Join can work if there was some better explanation going on exactly what people will get. Like, I know you do private webinars inside the program.
Right.
I don't see you promising that anywhere on the homepage. I know you have other training modules. That's not readily apparent to me. And if I would have to read everything there, but I'm already lost, So I think Join could work in a lot of cases, but you need to describe what you have a little bit better.
Okay.
Now, since you're not describing what you have a little bit better, what you should do is actually do lead generation. So make a promise. And I know you have a newsletter. Make a promise where they're going to get one module for free, get the email, and then do an ongoing campaign with those new leads. But right now, Join is definitely a little too overzealous, and you should definitely dial back to an email opt-in.
Interesting. So, I think what we're saying too is that this applies to Kitchen Table Companies, which is a business site. It's not a blog, but it's the same at a blog. There's probably one action people want. Is it true? I think once you come to a blog, probably the most often action we want people to take is to subscribe. Do you see people that do that thing where they kind of want you to do 70 things? Does that ever work?
Yeah, so a lot of people have heard from a few years ago that cluttered pages convert better. And a lot of people are still quoting that today. And that was true back then. Cluttered pages converted better, but it didn't convert emails. It didn't necessarily convert sales. It converted ad clicks better because it would confuse the visitor and it would convert the people to click on an ad by accident. But right now, I have something I call one page, one goal. For every page on your site, you want one goal because it's more likely that that people will take that goal. Now, you can have some secondary goals, but the secondary goals are only there just in case people aren't ready to take that first goal yet. The secondary goal is to try and get people to take that goal again, but you're trying to resell them on it almost. And at SobCon, I talked about Copyblogger and how once you visit his site, you can see all those categories at the top. So you read his article. If you're not ready to subscribe to his site right after you read his article, you have all those categories that are bombarding your eyesight right at the top there. So you'll go where you want to go, and each one of those categories is a landing page. And he'll convert you later. If he doesn't convert you right now after reading one article, he'll send you somewhere where he can convert you on a different article. Now, a lot of people now, instead, they show ads on their site. And I know you just added ads to your site, and I think ads work for a lot of people.
Sure.
But if you're just building a site and you're just trying to get some traction, you want to promote the email opt-in everywhere. And the best place to put that would be the top of your sidebar, at the bottom of each of your posts. So after the post is complete, you want to opt in right there. If you want to be a little more aggressive, you can put an opt-in above the post. It'll convert a little higher, but it might not be the type of traffic you want. It might be a little bit less qualified. And then as I do on socialtriggers.com, I have that big feature box that spans at the top. And that's great because most of my traffic hits single post pages. And then I've noticed, since it's a new site, people either go to my homepage or to my about page. So my homepage has that big opt-in, real aggressive, and if they just read an article and clicked home, they're ready to subscribe. They go to the about page. My about page is a landing page too that gets people to subscribe.
Derek, you had one point that I wanted to make before we kicked people out. I mean, you've made tons of points. One of them was that there's font sizes, for example. And I just was trying to compare my social triggers to yours. And what is the new appropriate font size?
Yeah, so I kind of dropped this. Size 14 is the new size 12. And a lot of people think about dress sizes for some reason when I said that. I mean, I know nothing about dress sizes. I haven't worn a dress since college, so.
You're deadly. But I agree with you. I think that, do you remember, I don't know, it must have been about 10 years ago or so, all of a sudden all the web designers had these amazing sites and they were like dark gray on light gray or light gray on dark or, white on beige. And you'd be like, I can't really see. And they'd be like 6-point fonts because they were cool. Yep. I try to keep my fonts up pretty high, and I still feel like Social Triggers, wins on that. You've got really big open air fonts there. I guess that's part of it?
Yeah, you want to, if you're starting a site, you want big fonts all the time, like size 14 to size 16. Size 14 would be the low end, size 16 is better. I mean, I'm 26, I can't see size 12 on my screens. So if I can't see it, I can only imagine someone who's aging a little bit worse than me, And then actually take it back to kitchen table companies again. The one thing that I would say to fix on kitchen table companies is that big promise and clarification of what you're offering. Mm-hmm. And once you have that, everything else is going to fall into place. In the interim, though, adding an opt-in box is very beneficial. And in the interim, you could use something what I call action colors, which signifies you want people to take action. So if you look at sites like 37 Signals and you go to their Basecamp page, they have the color green highlighting their plans and pricings page. So even if you're not ready to click on plans and pricings, it jumps out at you, makes an imprint in your brain so you know where it is. As you browse around the site, they know exactly where they need to go to take action. So for example, on kitchen table companies, you could do something as simple as changing the color of your newsletter to a different color and make that your lead generation page. And maybe make the newsletter box, let's say red. I'm not saying red will work here, but make it red. People will know where the newsletter is. So if they go there and they feel like they don't know what you're all about, they'll know where they can go to potentially get some more information.
Wow. So this has been great. Hey, Derek, you mentioned that you wanted to give some folks from kitchen table companies something, and I thought that was really cool. And like I said, I'm going to feature it on chrisbrogan.com, but we'll also put out a note to our kitchen table companies folks in the newsletter. Where should they swing by to pick that information up?
All right, so cool. So after you asked me about this, I thought it'd be really great to whip together some tips that people should follow when designing their site or when tweaking their site, especially now with frameworks. You could tweak sites, you don't need to know code. So I'm going to get the tips. It's going to be at socialtriggers.com/KTC.
Cool.
And that's where they'll be able to sign up and get these tips sent to their email inbox.
Excellent. Well, Derek Halpern from Social Triggers and many other things. Thanks so much for your time, and I really appreciate the feedback. And hopefully as people were listening to us back and forth, they were also comparing their own sites and really thinking about it. And swing by Social Triggers and definitely sign up to the newsletter and start getting that blog sent to you, because I keep learning something every day with it. So, Derek, thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you, Chris, for having me.
Appreciate it.